John and I have been uprooted many times by our mother. She has always enjoyed seeing the new sights while making us, her kids, start over again and again. We've lived in 8 different cities, 3 different states, and now my mother is wanting to add another state and city to this ever-growing list. My family has no roots to any specific place, and roots create someone's childhood. Moving frequently is detrimental to a child's development and overall well-being. The 4 areas this is seen in are the scope of the problem, how it affects their academic performance, how it affects their mental health, and finally, the long-term effects. First, let's look at the scope of the problem. I grew up feeling no special connection to any one place. Home was wherever we moved to next. I knew I wasn't the only kid to want everything to end. All I ever wanted was a place I could come back to, a place that everyone else had, but I didn't. The problem with this is kids need something to hold on to. Having talked to many kids in the same situation that I am in, they've concluded that no matter how many times you move, it never gets easier. You have to let go of everything you know. The mobility rate for a school is calculated by the total of new student entries and withdrawals during the year, divided by the total opening day official enrollment, according to the article Student Stability versus Mobility from the School Superintendents Association. Every school that I've been to, besides my current one, has had almost a 20% as their mobility percentage. My current school district mobility percentage was 9.5. Mobility percentage for my current city was 9.4 through 15.2% in 2007 and 2008. Only 65.6% of Nebraska's population are born in this state and have a current residence here, according to United States Census Bureau article Lifetime Mobility in the United States 2010, issued November 1st, 2011. In the United States, 78.3% of kids ages 5 to 17 were born in their state of residence. This means that even in rural areas, kids are moving constantly. Now let's discuss academic performance. According to the article Student Mobility in Rural and Non-Rural Districts in 5 Central Region States from the Institute of Education Sciences, highly mobile students are less successful academically, drop out of school at higher rates, and require more frequent disciplinary action. High student mobility is associated with negative outcomes for students and schools, although there are exceptions to this. My grades didn't change from different schools. It seemed I was either lacking in some areas or I was sitting waiting for the rest of the class to catch up. Student mobility disrupts instruction. Both state and local administrators need to understand the extent and distribution of student mobility. According to the Huffington Post article, Moving Increases Kids' Chances of Needing Mental Health Treatment by Allison Bond, there was a study over the chances of kids needing mental health treatment from records from 500,000 children. After a child is moved, their chances of needing mental health care rise as much as 20%. Psychologists, sociologists, and epidemiologists have recognized that children who move more often tend to perform worse in school and have more behavioral problems than those with a firmly rooted picket fence. Now that we have discussed how students are affected academically by moving, let's look at how their mental health is affected. Knowing how a move affects a child psychologically is important, so a family can prepare for the upcoming challenges accordingly. NBC News article, Teens Who Move a Lot Have Twice the Suicide Risk, says psychologists have known for years that moving is hard for kids. A new study shows that the impact can be more devastating than it was originally thought. Kids aged from 11 to 17 were twice as likely to attempt suicide if their families had moved 3 or more times compared to those who had never moved. If the family had moved 10 or more times, the kids were 4 times as likely to attempt suicide. The New York Times article, Frequent Moves Increase Suicide Risks in Teens, states that 55% of more than 4,000 children and teens aged from 11 to 17 who sought medical help at a hospital for a suicide attempt had changed residences more than 3 times, and less than 32% of similar children in a control group had changed residences more than 3 times. Of the suicidal children, 7.4% had moved more than 10 times, compared with the 1.9% of the control group. Change is stressful, and the transition to a new place or even the idea of a new place could be eased just by feeling included. Moving from one place to another can result in a breakdown of connections to peers. cause worries and distress about the upcoming new environment. Making matters worse, parents can be so caught up in moving that they don't see the impact it's having on their kids. Adolescents should have the chance to find a peer group and identify outside of their home. That is harder to do when your peer group and school are disrupted by a move. They should be providing the support and strength for the child whose life is being changed. I, myself, needed someone when there was no one. All of my friends had moved on, forgetting about me. My parents didn't notice the sudden change in my demeanor. I was in it all on my own. Even having my brother John go through it all with me, I still felt alone. Slowly, I was becoming numb to everyday experiences. I developed many bad habits, including harming, isolating, and starving myself. Eventually, I moved past my habits, but they still affect me because I have to look at and accept what I've done every day. Now that we've seen how frequent moving affects the academic and mental well-being of adolescents, let's look at how these effects are carried on into adulthood. New York Times article, Does Moving a Child Create Adult Baggage?, published July 10th, 2010, says that serial movers tend to report fewer quality social relationships. More times they moved as an individual, the more likely they were to report lower well-being and life satisfaction as adults. The University of Virginia conducted this study and included adults ages 20 through 75. When researchers did a follow-up on the adults they surveyed 10 years later, many of them had already died. Moving can change an extrovert into an introvert because they retract into themselves to avoid being hurt if they must leave again. According to the Washington Post article, Is Moving a Lot Bad for Kids?, which looked at the same study as the New York Times article, it states that moving may cause more stress. This could easily be the cause for the adults in the study to have died before the second wave of the study. My brother John, who is now an adult, said he finds it difficult to get close to people and put his whole trust into someone. He feels he can only rely on himself and cannot afford any screw-ups or mistakes because he had family looking to him. His love for his family was his only motivation to keep him alive today. This time, I would be on my own if we were to move again. Our list of places we have lived in is growing longer and longer. The roots I have to this place will be uprooted and planted somewhere else. Whereas my mom loves to see the new sights and experience them on a daily basis, my brother and I did not enjoy losing all the places we called home. Moving frequently is detrimental to a child's development and overall well-being. The 4 areas this was seen in were the scope of the problem, how it affects their academic performance, how it affects their mental health, and all of it resulting in the long-term effects. While it is true that home is where the heart is, the heart often flourishes where it has deep roots, and deep roots only occur when they have time